Tonight on Primary News, we will take a look at how the Wildcats learn how to drop things from their roof.
And also, we will have a look inside your curriculum corner. Primary News will start in 2 minutes.
Something's happening to the polar bear. Arctic sea ice is melting away. 2/3 of the world's polar bears will be gone by 2050, and the entire species could be extinct by the end of the century. Go to savethepolarbear.org today.
Hello and welcome to Primary News. This is the Walnut Street Wildcat edition, and I'm Nikki.
I'm Aliana, and we are your hosts for tonight. Later on tonight, we will take a look at how the Wildcats are helping hearts.
But up first tonight, we take a look at a recent grant the Wildcats received.
Walnut Street Elementary School is the proud recipient of an environmental grant from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Agency.
This project was awarded with the help of Mr. Rule, Mrs. Parks, and Mrs. Gold. It is housed in Mr. Rule's 5th grade classroom. It is called Trout in the Classroom.
This is a hands-on activity that helps students connect trout to real-life water quality, fish and wildlife issues and problems, and inspires students to seek solutions to those problems.
It all started with a 55-gallon tank, 350 rainbow trout eggs, a water cooler, pumps, a thermometer, and a filter. The class hatched 30 fry. Some of the tiny fry accidentally got sucked into the filter and surprisingly survived nearly a week in the filter without the students or teachers being aware of their disappearance.
They have joined their fish friends now with some human assistance, although they are only about half the size of the other fry that stayed in the 55-gallon tank. Mr. Rule has carefully netted the filter to avoid any future escapes.
The plan is to release what we hope to be 7 to 8 inch trout into the winding river, which leads into the Toms River. This information was gathered by Mr. Rule's students and TV21 reporters Allie, Nikki, and Steven.
Thanks. It's time for a short break. Coming up after the break, we look at how our students learned about making parachutes.
Primary News will be back after this.
How far would you go to help someone? Would you go to the end of your driveway? Would you cross a street? Would you cross an ocean? Would you go if you could use your knowledge to teach someone? And in the process, maybe learn something yourself. Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps.
I knew I needed help paying for college. I've always wanted to be a teacher. I used to make worksheets for my friends to do. No one ever wanted to come over. My guidance counselor told me about federal student aid, and my mom helped me fill out the free application. I got the grants and loans that made school possible. There is a way to pay for school. You just have to find it. My name is Caitlin. I'm going to be a special education teacher. I'm going to live my dream. Ready?
Welcome back to Primary News. I am Nikki. Let's take a look at the Stevens Parachute Project.
Walnut Street Elementary School students Sophia, Aylin, Aliana, and Kaylin interviewed 5th grade teacher Mr. Rule, 4th grade teacher Miss Wiest, and 3rd grade teacher Mr. Paramonti about the Stevens Institute parachute drop.
The teachers attended the STEM classes over the summer at Stevens Institute of Technology. STEM is an acronym for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics.
The parachute drop began with a book. The book talked about parachutes and how they work. A visiting teacher came from Stevens Institute to teach the students at Walnut Street more about the parachute drop.
The experiment used the engineering design process. First, the students researched parachutes. Next, the students planned how to make the parachute they were searching for. a way to make the slowest falling parachute. Mr. Paramonti explained the engineering design process to Aylin and Aliana.
Sophia and Kaylin interviewed Mr. Rule, learning about the importance of teaching students about drag in order to make the parachute stay in the air. Ms. Weiss offered ideas about creating the parachute. Students had a choice of canopy material, black plastic, clear plastic, or a plastic bag. Students also had to choose the length of the suspension lines.
The final item was the uncooked pasta to use as a load for the parachute. Working in small teams, each of the 3 classes finished creating their model. This is where the excitement began. The teams launched their parachute out of Miss Weiss' second-story window.
Whichever class had the slowest falling parachute and the most pieces of uncooked pasta that did not break won. This event was important because it exposed our students to research, teamwork, the engineering design process, and critical thinking. All 3 classes appeared to enjoy and profit from this exciting lesson.
Ellie and Kieran recently interviewed our principal, Mr. Fosnock, and our supervisor, Mrs. Brown. Mr. Fosnock explained that the attendance program involves all students and staff.
This event occurs each month. Each class has a sign to hang up outside of their classroom on perfect attendance days. They count up how many times each class hangs their sign out.
The 3 classes that have perfect attendance for the most days each win a pizza party. Mrs. Brown explained that the attendance program helps to encourage all students to be present every day.
Well, it sure looks like Walnut Street is an exciting place these days. It's time for us to take our last break.
After the break, we see how a special being stopped by the gym to talk to the students. We'll be right back.
When you hear your calling, will you ignore it? Or will you listen? What if it calls you to go halfway around the world? To serve people you've never met? What will you do when you hear your calling? Peace Corps, life is calling. How far will you go?
There are some things you simply cannot control. And some really important things you can, like keeping your family healthy, managing finances, preparing for retirement. It's all here in this booklet from the American Diabetes Association because we want everyone to be healthy and happy. Order your free copy of Planning for a Healthy Life now to help manage the things you can control.
Welcome back to Primary News with the Walnut Street Wildcats news team. Let's now travel to the gym to see how our students got a special visitor.
Olivia and Ellie interviewed our health and physical education teachers, Mrs. Goebel and Mrs. Lombardo. This event takes place in our school gymnasium from February 8th to February 12th.
Mrs. Goebel explained that the Jump for Heart program raises awareness of heart disease, heart attacks, and strokes. The program was so successful last year that Mrs. Goebel added 4th grade to the 5th grade this year.
The students take pledges of donations for their participation in this activity. This program gets students involved to raise money and research and help those people who need assistance with their high medical bills.
Mrs. Lombardo and Mrs. Goebel also discussed the obstacle course taking place in Walnut Street School's gymnasium. Every student in the school participated from January 4th to January 15th. It gets the whole school involved, and all the students are exercising for the entire gym period. It's a lot of fun.
At Walnut Street Elementary, Reagan interviewed Mrs. Hennelly about the upcoming school play. This year's school play is There's a Monster in My Closet.
This play is supported by our PTO, affectionately known as the Wildcats Guardians. The PTO helps to fund the play, gathers parents to help with the play, and assists with costumes and props.
Every year, the play takes place in the auditorium on the stage. The play is scheduled for February 24th for students and February 26th for the guardians, friends, and family.
Mrs. Hennelly says it's important to have a school play because each child will have a chance to shine on a stage. There are many individual parts in addition to the 9 choruses.
The school play is a wonderful free event to attend at Walnut Street Elementary School.
Remember, if you have a story you would like us to cover,
or if you have an announcement about an upcoming event, please send it inter-school mail to the TV studio at High School East, or you can email us at tv21@trschools.com.
also be sure to tune in to TV21 throughout the day to catch this show as we bring you stories from around the district. Also, please take a look at our website, www.trschools.com/TV21.
Well, that wraps up tonight's show. For Primary News, I'm Aliana.
And I'm Nikki. Have a great night.